In 1968, while the world was having a cultural revolution, one film asked the important question, what if we sent a sexually liberated astronaut to save the universe while wearing increasingly ridiculous outfits? Barbarella wasn't just a movie. It was a fever dream, wrapped in plastic, powered by innuendo, and somehow starring Jane Fonda as the galaxy's most improbable hero. This is the film that turned space travel into a fashion show, made an organ called the excessive machine a plot device, and proved that in the future, even angels need healing through physical love. Today, we're stripping away the layers, much like Barbarella in Zero Gravity, to reveal 20 absolutely bizarre facts about this cosmic camp masterpiece. From the director who married his leading lady mid-production, to the costumes that literally couldn't be worn sitting down, to the rock band that took their name from the villain. Buckle up, space travelers. We're about to enter the 41st century, where the pills are uppers, the dolls have teeth, and physics died somewhere around Saturn. This is Barbarella, like you've never known it. Fact number 1. Sex as universal medicine.
An angel does not make love. An angel is love.
Then you're a dead...
Let's start with the film's most audacious concept. In Barbarella's universe, sex isn't just recreation, it's literally medicine. When our heroine crashes on a frozen planet and finds a wounded angel named Pygar, she doesn't reach for a first aid kit. She heals him the old-fashioned way, and suddenly he can fly again. This wasn't subtle metaphor. Director Roger Vadim literally made physical intimacy a superpower. Jane Fonda later said filming these scenes required her to keep a straight face while explaining to a blind angel that she was restoring his will to fly through cosmic lovemaking. The scene was so bizarre that several countries didn't know whether to censor it for sexuality or approve it as a medical procedure. Fact number 2. The zero-gravity strip that changed sci-fi.
Just a minute, I'll slip something on.
Don't trouble yourself. This is an affair of state. What I must tell you not only is...
The opening credits feature Jane Fonda floating in zero gravity, slowly removing a spacesuit while the letters of Barbarella float around her. No CGI, no green screen. They built a rotating set and filmed Fonda sideways, letting her hair and the letters float up while she peeled off layer after layer. This sequence took 3 days to film. Fonda was strapped into hidden harnesses, fighting nausea from the constant rotation. The letters kept hitting her in the face, but the result became one of cinema's most iconic openings, a striptease that literally defied gravity and set the tone for everything that followed. Fact number 3. The excessive machine that inspired a band.
Enough to me?
I'll do things to you that are beyond all known philosophies. Wait until I get my device.
The villain, Duran Durand, yes, that's 2 Durans, attempts to execute Barbarella using the excessive machine, an organ that kills through overwhelming pleasure. She breaks it by enjoying it too much. The machine literally short-circuits from her enthusiasm. This scene was so memorably absurd that when Simon Le Bon was forming a band in 1978, they named themselves Duran Duran after the villain. They dropped 1 D but kept the camp. A torture device that backfires due to the victim's sexual appetite inspired one of the 80s biggest bands. That's cultural impact. Fact number 4. The killer dolls that traumatized a generation.
Come on, untie me or I'm going to call your parents.
Before Chucky, before Annabelle, Barbarella gave us mechanical dolls with metal teeth that attack in a pack. The scene where children tie Barbarella to a stake while their dolls waddle toward her with snapping jaws is genuinely disturbing. The dolls were remote-controlled, but the operators kept losing signal. Several dolls went rogue on set, chasing crew members. One latched onto a cameraman's leg and wouldn't let go until they removed its batteries. Fonda called it the most frightening scene to film because the dolls were genuinely unpredictable. Fact number 5. The director married his star. During production, Roger Vadim and Jane Fonda weren't just director and star, they became husband and wife during filming. Vadim had already been married to Brigitte Bardot and would later marry Catherine Deneuve. He had a type, blonde bombshells who he could transform into cinema icons. But the marriage affected the film profoundly. Vadim would rewrite scenes at night based on conversations with Fonda. The costume designs got more revealing as their relationship intensified. By the time filming ended, they had a daughter and one of the strangest marriages in Hollywood, one literally born from making a space opera about weaponized pleasure. Fact number 6. The costumes that defied physics and comfort.
That's my good girl. One day, Barbarella.
Costume designer Jacques Fontaret created outfits that weren't meant for human bodies. The famous plastic breastplate with the green cape? Fonda couldn't sit down in it. The chainmail bikini? It weighed 20 pounds and left marks. Each costume change required a complete rebuild of the shooting schedule, because some outfits took 2 hours to put on and couldn't be removed without destroying them. The metallic bodysuit was literally bolted onto Fonda each morning. She ate through a straw and couldn't use the bathroom for entire shooting days. Fashion came first. Functionality didn't exist. Fact number 7. The pill-popping future.
No, not like that. Like on Earth, on Earth, the pill.
In Barbarella's 41st century, sex has been replaced by pills. Citizens take exaltation transference pellets instead of physical contact, considering actual touching primitive. The film predicted a future where human connection would be medicalized and sanitized. The pill scene was controversial even by 1968 standards. While The Summer of Love was promoting free expression, Barbarella showed a future where that freedom had been pharmaceuticalized. Ironically, the censors had no problem with this scene, while cutting actual romantic moments. Drugs were fine. Human contact was dangerous. Fact number 8. Dino De Laurentiis's bargain bin space opera.
It's the fumes. They make one want.
Producer Dino De Laurentiis wanted to cash in on sci-fi's popularity, but with a fraction of the budget. The entire film cost $9 million, less than some single scenes in contemporary sci-fi films. The futuristic sets were built from discarded airplane parts, Christmas decorations, and inflatable furniture from a department store. The spaceship interior was literally bubble wrap glued to plywood. The ice planet, shaving cream and cotton balls. De Laurentiis proved you didn't need money to make something memorable, just audacity. Fact number 9. The scientist named after a real sex researcher.
Your mission, then. Find Durand.
Durand wasn't just a ridiculous name, it was a play on Durand, referencing the contemporary sex research of the 1960s. Vadim was making a direct connection between his villain's pleasure machine and real-world scientists studying human sexuality. The character was supposed to represent the dangers of reducing human experience to pure mechanics. Milo O'Shea played him as a mad scientist, crossed with a deranged organist, creating one of cinema's strangest villains, a man who literally weaponized the orgasm. Fact number 10. The blind angel, who could actually see.
How awful.
It no longer matters. It's all in the past.
Pygar.
John Philip Law played Pygar, the blind angel, but he could see perfectly through his blind contact lenses. This created surreal moments where he'd catch Fonda when she stumbled, despite being supposedly sightless. Law later revealed he played Pygar as if he could sense everything through other means, essentially giving the character supernatural perception while being technically blind. His delivery of, "An angel doesn't make love, an angel is love," became an accidental philosophy statement that transcended the camp. Fact number 11. The smoking, liquid, and evil essence.
Oh, no, stop! I command it! I'm Durand!
The Mathmos, a living, evil lake beneath the city, was created using heated oil, dry ice, and green lights. The effect was so toxic that crew members had to wear masks between takes. Fonda nearly passed out during the scene where she's lowered toward it. The substance was meant to represent pure evil in liquid form, feeding on negative emotions. It was defeated by Barbarella's innocence, literally too pure for evil to digest. The metaphor was heavy-handed, but the visual of bubbling green evil became surprisingly influential in later sci-fi. Fact number 12. Anita Pallenberg's real-life danger.
Ever heard of a young scientist named Durand?
Yes?
Anita Pallenberg played the Black Queen with such intensity that crew members were genuinely frightened of her. She stayed in character constantly, smoking constantly, and carrying real knives that weren't props. Her chamber scene with Barbarella, featuring a hookah that supposedly contained essence of man, was largely improvised. Pallenberg made up most of her dialogue on the spot, and Fonda's confused reactions are genuine. The scene's lesbian undertones were so strong that several countries cut it entirely, though Vadim insisted it was about power, not sex. Fact number 13. The labyrinth that nearly killed everyone.
Tell me what that means.
Chamber?
The underground labyrinth sequence used real flames and explosives. Safety regulations were essentially non-existent. The crew set fires that got out of control multiple times. During one take, Fonda and Law were actually trapped when a planned explosion blocked their exit. They had to be rescued by crew members with fire extinguishers. The terror on their faces in the final cut? Not acting. Vadim kept the take because authentic fear cannot be performed. Fact number 14. Marcel Marceau breaks his silence.
The pill.
The legendary mime. Marcel Marceau took the role of Professor Ping specifically because it required him to speak, breaking his professional silence for comedy. His delivery of scientific exposition in a thick French accent, while wearing a costume made of inner tubes, became surreal art. Marceau later said it was the most fun he'd had performing, because after 20 years of silence, every word felt like rebellion. His scenes were shot in one day, and he improvised most of his gestures, treating language itself as a physical comedy prop. Fact number 15. The invisible wires that weren't.
And this is the labyrinth. All that is not evil is...
The flying sequences used visible wires that nobody bothered to hide. Vadim's philosophy was, if we can see them, they're not trying to trick you, they're part of the honesty. This became accidentally brilliant. The film never pretends to be more than it is. The wire work was so dangerous that insurance companies tried to shut down production. Fonda and Law were suspended 30 feet in the air with no safety nets. When a wire snapped during one scene, Law caught Fonda mid-fall. They kept filming. The moment is in the final cut. Fact number 16. Censorship roulette around the world.
Of the doors you see before you. Should you fail to choose, you will be given to the math.
Every country censored different parts. Italy cut the violence but kept the sex. Britain cut the sex but kept the violence. Japan created their own edit that somehow made it more suggestive by what they removed. The Vatican condemned it. France celebrated it. America didn't know what to do with it. The MPAA created new rating guidelines specifically because of Barbarella. It exposed every loophole in their system. A film too weird to categorize forced censors to actually think. Fact number 17. The fur-lined spaceship.
Fine feathered friend.
There he is.
Barbarella's spaceship interior was lined with fake fur, including shag carpet on the walls and a bed with programmed movements. The design was meant to suggest a womb in space, but critics called it a brothel with rockets. The fur caused constant continuity errors as it would mat differently between takes. Static electricity from the synthetic materials would shock actors constantly. Fonda's hair would stand on end after lying on the fur bed, requiring complete reshoots. The spaceship became a character itself, aggressively impractical. Fact number 18. The franchise that never was.
Stormy precipitations, analysis of the atmosphere, terrestrial with a slight excess of oxygen. I count 6.
De Laurentiis planned 3 Barbarella films. Scripts were written, sets were designed. Then the film's bizarre reception killed everything. It made money but confused everyone. Critics didn't know if it was brilliant satire or expensive trash. Decades later, directors from Robert Rodriguez to Robert Zemeckis tried to remake it. Every attempt failed. The original exists in a specific moment, 1968's collision of sexual revolution, space race, and pop art. It can't be recreated because that cultural moment is gone. Fact number 19. Jane Fonda's love-hate relationship. Fonda has spent 50 years with mixed feelings about Barbarella. She's called it embarrassing, empowering, stupid, and important, sometimes in the same interview. She refused to discuss it for decades, then embraced it as feminist camp. In 2018, she finally said, "Barbarella was a woman who saved the universe without violence, through pleasure and joy. Maybe we were ahead of our time." The film she once tried to forget became a statement she didn't know she was making. Fact number 20. The permanent pop culture infection. Barbarella infected everything. Fashion designers still reference the costumes. Musicians sample the soundtrack. The aesthetic appears in music videos, commercials, and runway shows. Lady Gaga, Beyoncé, and Ariana Grande have all channeled Barbarella looks. The film created a visual language for retro-futurism that never existed before. It's what the future looked like in 1968, naive, sexual, dangerous, and wrapped in plastic. Every space-age fashion shoot owes something to Barbarella's fearless commitment to looking ridiculous. Bonus fact: the missing footage. 20 minutes of footage was cut and destroyed after the initial screening. This included an entire subplot about a planet of invisible men and an extended sequence in the Mathmos. Vadim burned the negatives himself, saying, "Some mistakes should stay buried." Film historians have searched for decades, but the footage is gone. We'll never know what was too weird for a film that included killer dolls and orgasm machines. That might be Barbarella's greatest mystery.